and welcome to episode 43 of the Crimson Misery podcast. My name is Will Rainbolt. Hope you all are doing well. It is March 19th, 2025. By the time you're watching this, it'll probably be March 20th, 2025, and that is when the NCAA tournament officially kicks off. I'm not even counting the first four as the actual tournament because those are play-in games, but I digress. Anyway, if you are listening on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, consider rating the show 5 stars. If you are listening on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment down below. And yeah, we are finished with the first four, as I said before that. But before I do get into that, I want to give some quick notes, some news that has happened around college basketball. The first of which we'll talk about a little bit about the NIT, but more importantly is the debacle that happened with South Alabama, uh, who they had their NIT invite rescinded by the NCAA. This was after, I believe it was UC Riverside, who told them that they would be playing in a different, I think they were going to be playing in the CBI. Um, so yeah, it was really strange. And UC Riverside apparently uh, got out of their, I guess it was their like commitment or their agreement or whatever it's called, and then got back into the NIT, and then the NCAA basically had to rescind the NIT invitation to South Alabama. Head coach Richie Riley was understandably pretty upset about that. Yeah, that sucked. Everyone in their right mind was very upset about this, and I believe UC or I almost said UC or right, UC Riverside's head coach, I believe, um, said, I believe it was like laid the blame on the NCAA. Or I guess Dan Gavitt to an extent, the senior vice president, and yeah, this was just a terrible mistake. And because if honestly, if one team has to it already commits to playing in another postseason tournament, then that should be then the bid that you extend, in this case to South Alabama, should be there. And yeah, it's really unfortunate. I apologies to South Alabama. That really sucks. And yeah, very yeah. I it's pretty terrible. So the NIT do have some score updates. UC Irvine's playing. They're playing Northern Colorado. They are currently up 64-61. San Francisco is up on Utah Valley 30-25. A couple other notes: Dayton defeated Florida Atlantic 86-79. So Dayton is trying to. The NIT is pretty strong. North Texas as well, 75-64 over Furman. SMU over Northern Iowa, 73 to 63. Bradley over North Alabama. The second place finishers in the Missouri Valley, 71-62. George Mason, 86-69. I mean, this NIT is pretty damn good. But you all aren't here for the NIT, are you? I just wanted to give a shout out to the NIT. CBI as well. I haven't really paid much attention to. Same with the CIT. Maybe once the college basketball crown kicks off, then I may cover that at some point. But for the most part, it's going to be the NCAA tournament. Games start tomorrow at noon, so make sure you're tuning into that. I say noon; it's noon on the East Coast. So just wanted to make sure that I got that straightened out. And in other non NCAA tournament news, Indiana has a new head coach, Darian DeVries, the former head coach of both Drake and West Virginia. I believe also was an assistant at, I want to say it was Creighton. Yeah. So a longtime assistant um, under Greg McDermott. Was there for a lot of really great teams, and I believe Dana Altman as well. So coached some really good players under under those guys. So he has a lot of experience. Again, helped build Drake's program up. Um, and that's, I mean, it had some really great players there, including his son Tucker, who went with him to West Virginia, and now he is going to be following his father to Indiana. Big news there, and my immediate reaction. Um, I wasn't crazy about the name as I've like watched West Virginia throughout the year. Wasn't the most beautiful watch of all time. Some great players still. I still like Javon Small quite a bit. Although it may have come out that he and Darian DeVries did maybe not have the greatest relationship. Um, but that being said, overall record of 169 and 68, and he'll be getting loss number 69 with Indiana. That's pretty cool. Um, but three NCAA appearances under his belt, um, all of them with Drake, and of course West Virginia was the first team out of the NCAA tournament. I as I was one of the people who said that West Virginia should be more toward the bubble. I wasn't crazy about West Virginia, but I still had them in over both North Carolina and Texas, and that clearly did not happen. And I'll get to both Texas and North Carolina in a second. One of those teams looked like they belonged. The other did to a certain extent, but also did not survive. So anyway, but as I sit here right now, I'm I'm all right with this hire. Um, I think the floor of this hire is that it's going to be another Archie Miller type hire, which don't I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's something that's always going to stick in the back of my mind. Having lived through the Archie Miller era, I'll, I'll get to his brother Sean Miller in a second. Um, and somewhere like Brad Underwood. I mean, Brad Underwood, a guy who was head coach of Stephen F. Austin, went to Oklahoma State and then Illinois, and he's been at Illinois ever since then, and has done a pretty damn good job. He's a bit of a hothead, but I can't deny that he's a pretty good coach. So that being said, yeah, I give this hire right now, even though I wasn't crazy about it in the beginning. Like the more I sit down and look at it, the more I'm like, you know what, this could possibly work. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. But I don't hate it. I'm not over the moon, but like he has a chance to win me over. I'm again, I may be a little more pessimistic than others, having having seen the quality of basketball these last like 8 years. So actually more like 9 years with the last year of Tom Crean. But yeah, I that's why I have a little bit of like cautious optimism. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. His son, obviously, I mean, Tucker DeVries, who, when healthy, is one of the best players in the country. He had a nagging shoulder problem this year, so that's why he wasn't really playing. So if he's healthy, this Indiana team could be pretty good, or at least they'll have a really good player on it. So, um, and it'll get to like overall portal talk at like probably later down the line, or if it's brought up anywhere else. But just as a footnote, Malik Renew and Gabe Cups have both entered the transfer portal for Indiana. So uh, if they do not come back to Indiana, best of luck to both of them. I will be rooting for them, just as I root for guys like Tamar Bates and Jerome Hunter, etc., um, who have left the program. So, and one final note I wanted to mention. Tobin Anderson was fired from Iona. Tobin Anderson, of course, was the head coach of Fairleigh Dickinson whenever they beat Purdue. Took the Iona program and was fired after 2 seasons, which seems like a very quick hook. We'll see if he gets anywhere else. I'm sure he'll be offered a job somewhere. Um, I don't know if Iona is necessarily the best hotspot for coaches. I know I say that knowing that Rick Pitino was there, but that's a tough that's a tough job to um, succeed in. So anyway, um, let's move on to recapping some of the first four. So the first game on Tuesday was Alabama State and St. Francis, PA. Um, St. Francis had the lead for quite a bit in this one, and I thought that Alabama State um, was a little looked a little off, especially early on. But then um, like Amar Knox was a gigantic factor. Alabama State was also a little bit deeper uh, than than St. Francis was, and eventually the game got down to a tied game at 68. And then Knox, they did like a baseball, like a lob pass to Knox, who caught it and hit the game-winning shot with about 3 seconds left. So congratulations to Tony Madlock and Alabama State, the first victory of this NCAA tournament. Um, Play-in game, I should say, but still a win regardless, and nothing can take away that away from Alabama State. So, um, yeah, I believe this is either their fourth or fifth NCAA tournament appearance. I believe fifth, yeah. So, and again, can't help but feel bad for Saint Francis, who came in with a losing record and still played really hard against Alabama State, but ultimately, the Hornets were able to win this one. Um, very, very great game, and it was the best game of yesterday, because what followed was just an absolute beatdown. North Carolina destroys San Diego State 95-68. Not the most surprising result, as North Carolina has the talent to to win a to make a pretty good run, I feel like, as an 11 seed. They're a very dangerous 11 seed. I could see them beating Ole Miss, and I can see them winning the if they win that game, I could see them beating either Iowa State or Lipscomb. I could easily see this North Carolina team, now that they're in, um, making the Sweet 16. Now, should they have gotten in the first place? I still don't think so. But like, you can't deny that they were better than San Diego State, because good lord, this team was terrible offensively. I mean, it was a 30-point game for a lot of it. I mean, it was San Diego State looked like the ones that shouldn't have belonged in this tournament. Um, and right, I mean, they were on the bubble for a reason, but yeah, RJ Davis still really good at 26 points. Um, the thing that's always like you always have in the back of your mind is Hubert Davis is the head coach. So um, the law if North Carolina does lose in this tournament, it probably won't be due to RJ Davis or Elliot Cadeau or Van Allen Lubin, even Jalen Withers, who, even though he had the lane violation, it's like I don't think the loss is going to come from the players. I think it's literally going to be because of Hubert Davis, because that's been like the case the last couple times they've lost. It was in the national championship game um, and in the Sweet 16 last year. I mean, defensively, North Carolina is. I still don't trust them defensively, and Ole Miss is not a team that's just going to roll over. They have plenty of talent too, especially with Jamin Brakefield, Sean Padula, um, and I still like. I still think that Ole Miss has a pretty good shot to win this game. Um, but again, North Carolina is very dangerous as an 11, so we shall see. Um, so moving on to Wednesday, Mount St. Mary's got off to a hot shooting start and pretty much kept it up the whole way through, beating American University 83-72. Now, I will say that their American's best player, Matt Rogers, had a knee injury that he tried to work out and had to had to go on the bike, and was still came back and then re-injured it. So It was very sad for Matt Rogers not being able to play a whole lot in this game, just 8 minutes. And Americans still tried, like they were still knocking down some 3 pointers. Jeff Sprouse had 18 off the bench. He hit 6 3 pointers, but Mount St. Mary's was just so much better. Jetty Cordelia had 22 points. Dola Adebayo at 22 as well. Dallas Hobbs with 17. Mount St. Mary's was just beating up American inside. And so I should say Alabama State is going to be playing Auburn and Mount St. Mary's is going to be playing Duke. And then I'll get to Texas Xavier in a second. But yeah, Mount St. Mary's looked pretty good all in all. And okay, if there was a 16 over 1 that could happen, I obviously don't think that's going to happen, not with this lineup. But if I did have to pick one, um, part of me, even though like they might be technically the worst 1 seed, like that that's tough. I mean the worst 16 seed. Sorry. Probably Alabama State versus Auburn. Like something about that matchup, especially being in an in-state rivalry, just something about that says like maybe that game. But to be clear, I don't think any 1 seed is going down in the first round. So I'm just making that very clear. Um, but anyway, so yeah, the final game of the first four was Xavier beating Texas 86-80. Um, I genuinely thought Texas was going to win this game, especially out of the SEC with the media darlings. That was their 16th loss for Texas, and I did not have Texas in the tournament, and they looked decent, especially on offense, but defensively they just could not stop Xavier. Former Hoosier Jerome Hunter had 9 points, hit some big 3 point shots as well. Dante Maddox with 10. Marcus Foster hit some big shots, had 22. And then Zach Freemantle, who it didn't matter who was guarding Zach Freemantle down low. No one could stop him. Um, yeah, and for Xavier, Jordan Pope just did not show up this game. He only had 3 points. The guy who did show up and who's going to be balling out in the NBA was Trey Johnson. But let's be honest with ourselves. Trey Johnson shot Texas out of this game. And I'd honestly say Tremont Mark as well. I don't think Johnson should get all the blame here. Obviously, Texas as a team just did not guard very well. But down the stretch, Trey Johnson was not very good. Missed a couple shots. Took a couple pretty bad shots that did not help Texas, and then was beat down across the floor, and then got an and one. I believe it Ryan Conwell or Dalen Swain. One of those two guys were like streaking down the floor and beat out Trey Johnson, who committed like an and one foul that basically put Xavier ahead for good. And Texas free throw shooting down the stretch. Both teams were kind of shaky from the free throw line, but Texas, especially in that second half, was not very good. Trey Johnson, I think, missed some. Um, yeah, I think he was 7 for 11, and Xavier just hit more shots. Simple as that. This was a very high octane game, and I don't really like the guy all that much, but Sean Miller, I think, is a better head coach than Rodney Terry at this current moment. So also a bit of out coaching there. Xavier, um, also rebounding wise, even though I guess Texas overall out rebounded Xavier, but in the second half, I'm pretty sure Xavier really cleaned a lot of that up. So, um, and that's, they said, Xavier's a pretty physical rebounding team, and so is Texas. Let's be clear, they're both very physical. Um, but yeah, I just think that the shot selection was definitely more in favor of Xavier. I thought the ball movement was a lot cleaner, especially in the second half. And Texas was leading for a lot of this game too. I think they had a 13-point lead at one point in the second half, and Xavier just kept hitting enough shots, and they were like slowly getting their way back into the game. And I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna come down to the wire here. And really, I mean, Xavier kind of just took control of the game. Now I thought there were a couple of weird calls, especially on both sides, that maybe could have risen to a flagrant foul. Like at one point, Caden Shredrick was kneed in the groin. I believe it was Shedrick, but it was just called a common foul. And then I think it was Shedrick who pushed off Zach Freemantle, and they didn't call anything there. But then also it looked as if, like, at least on initial, like the first, like to the naked eye, it looked like Fremantle's shot when he like shot the three that could have put him up by six. Um, was off the mark. And then I thought because it didn't hit the rim, and it looked like it was a shot clock violation, but they didn't call it, and the broadcast seemingly didn't like go back to it at all. So I didn't know what happened there, but I like that's not the reason why Texas lost this game. They more than likely would have lost regardless because I just don't I just thought they were going to take like some really off balance three that would have probably lost them the game anyway. When they were going inside, they were having a lot more success. But anywho, I rest my case that yeah, Texas probably. I mean, of the two teams, Carolina and Texas, that ended up making the tournament, it's like yeah, Texas with 16 losses, by the way. Um, yeah, I know they were in the darling SEC, but I yeah. Anyway, Texas is gone though. Xavier is moving on to face Illinois. That's a very interesting matchup because I think Xavier has enough firepower to hang with Illinois, but it really does depend on which Illinois shooting team shows up. I think that's going to be the big question mark because if Illinois is taking because you know Illinois is going to take at least like 25 threes because that's just in their team identity, right? Even though they're not great statistically or percentage wise, like a good 3-point shooting team, like I still think it depends on how much that. I mean, that's probably going to be the X factor for Illinois this whole tournament, however long they're going to end up lasting in this thing. So, if I did have to predict, uh, I think one of the 11s that moved on, not the 11s that are in the like that were safely in that got the bye that are just going to be playing the six regardless. Like I think Drake and who's the other one? I have to look at the bracket again. Um, whoever that other 11 was. Oh yeah, VCU. Um, yeah, I think of the two teams that were in the 11 field, so Xavier and Texas, or no, Xavier and North Carolina. Sorry. I think one of those two teams are going to get a win, and I think only one of those two teams. I don't think both of them are. So if I had to guess, it's probably North Carolina that beats Ole Miss, um, and then Illinois beats Xavier. That's my prediction. And watch the exact opposite happen now that I said that. So anyway, yeah, tomorrow again, Thursday, March 20th, as the clock turns to midnight. The first game is Creighton Louisville. The second game is High Point Purdue. So back home, I know back home in Indiana where I'm from, it's going to be a lot of people are going to be glued to their TVs. So Creighton and Louisville is on at 12:15, Purdue High Point at 12:40, and then a lot of other games to follow. So very excited. It won't be ending until probably after midnight with UC San Diego and Michigan and UNC Wilmington, Texas Tech to round out the action. And then we get to do the same thing Friday and then the same thing Saturday and Sunday with the round of 32. Oh my God, this is one of my favorite times of the year. Let's go. Oh, yeah, despite Indiana not being in the tournament, you know, it is what it is. Let's have a great tournament. Have fun watching the tournament, everyone. I'll be back with you either, let's see, I'll either be back with you Saturday-ish or Monday, depending on what I end up doing. It also depends on what happens with the women's side. And speaking of the women's side, I just wanted to give a quick update there as well. Iowa State defeated Princeton, so Audie Crooks and company will be moving on. Audie Crooks had 27, Addie Brown had 22. As Iowa State defeated Princeton 68 to 63, kind of figured that would happen. It's a an odd year for a two-bit Ivy League, both Harvard and Princeton getting in, and then Southern defeated UC San Diego. I wanted to correct myself. That was the other thing. UC San Diego did make the tournament for the first year of their eligibility in both the men's and women's side. I for some reason I couldn't find UC San Diego on the bracket, but it turns out they were playing in the first four, so that is why. So I wanted to make sure I corrected that. But unfortunately for them, their tournament run came to a brief end with Southern winning by 12. So yeah, so two more games in the first four. I believe who else is playing in the first four? Something that I should have probably done earlier. Oh well. It's High Point and William and Mary, and then in the second game, it is or is it a three-bit Ivy League? Huh. Well, yeah, I guess so. That actually, um, I guess I didn't really realize. Yeah, I guess I didn't necessarily realize that it was a three-bit Ivy League, but good for them. Yeah, it is. It is a three-bit Ivy League. So Columbia, who's the regular season Ivy League champion, will be facing Washington. So predictions for that. Uh, I wasn't really impressed with Washington, so I'm gonna say Columbia, and then probably let's go with William and Mary. Why not? Yeah, for that one. So yeah, and then the women's tournament officially starts on Friday, which yeah. So I believe it's Friday. Actually let me check again because sometimes I do get stuff wrong. Uh, surprise, surprise. Um, yes, okay, yeah. It starts on Friday, and then yeah, the round of 64 is Friday and Saturday, and then the round of 32 is Sunday, Monday. Indiana plays at 1:30 on ESPN2 on Friday, so I will definitely be watching that. Good luck to the Lady Hoosiers, I suppose. Not sure we'll go far, but yeah, just wanted to shout them out. Good luck to them. And anyway, with that being said, again, hope you all enjoy the NCAA tournament, both the men's and women's side. And yeah, I will see you all next time, whenever that may be. I'm actually still not 100% sure. Um, yeah, I'm not 100% sure when I'll drop, but you'll know it. You will know it. All right. Take care, you all. Enjoy the madness. Bye bye.